So how I would summarise the key messages from my talk are that I think we're at a watershed moment in terms of the life of large corporations and large organisations in the West. I think people lost trust following the financial crisis, and I think they need to see organisations demonstrating a commitment to society and stakeholder communities in a way that wasn't there before the crisis. So I think that calls for a different kind of leadership, different sort of culture, and I think that's rather exciting.
The key message of my talk is that we often get very confused about what meaning is and how we should define it, and it's a concept that's very foggy and requires a lot of depth and nuance. And yet, when we ask ourselves, what was a meaningful moment in my work, we can immediately come up with one. Because usually meaning is embedded in an activity. We find meaning in doing something, and specifically we find meaning in doing something that makes it personally fulfilling to forget ourselves in the service of a larger whole. And leaders can often serve a crucial part of making it possible for people to have the opportunity of doing that kind of work by providing a space and by providing a story that not only gives people direction, but also that gives them meaning in their everyday activity.
The key messages which could be experienced, not only we're talking about, but an orchestra shows, an orchestra and conductor shows how direct the influence of non-verbal communication is, how important it is that in between the team and between the leader and the team there's a transparency. Transparency creates the possibility to share everything and especially to appreciate what you are doing. Nobody is unimportant if you perceive everybody.
The important thing, I think, is that the way we attend to people and things changes the way they are. It changes the world. And if we attend to them as if they were machines, we produce a very debased and devitalized kind of world, and we don't get the best out of people. So it's important that we trust people, allow them to exercise their skills, and don't over-control.
So meaning, purpose, and strategy are the main topics. Like, what is the purpose of a firm? And I think these are absolutely critical topics, and ones that we've done a pretty good job of screwing up. We've turned these into just vague notions and gimmicks and financials, and lost the heart of it. And the heart of purpose is saying, what unmet market need are we meeting? Like, who are we as an organization, and what do we exist to achieve, and what are we willing and not willing to do to get there? And I don't worry about defining it, because I think we're wasting our time there. But I know it when I see it. And I see purpose in an organization when I see a few things coming together, when I see a real strategic insight, when I see an innovative, a new or different approach to meeting that unmet market need. Then you see this unifying commitment, which means people are coming together towards this goal, because purpose can't be held by just one person in a firm, and that gives the organization its distinct reason for being. And when these four things come together, you start to see purpose. And strategy is our midterm 2 to 3 year, sometimes 3 to 5 year expression of how we're going to execute on that purpose. And then really, the most fundamental notion of purpose isn't about that, it's about how you answer this question. And the question is, if your firm disappeared, would anyone care? If so, why? And if you can't say a resounding yes to that question, then you probably don't have purpose yet, which means you probably got some work to do in your organization.